Well, hello, and welcome to the In a Flash, The Years Go By podcast, where the Vernon, Texas High School class of 1982 alumni come home to tell the stories that shaped us long after we left the halls of VHS. I'm Ray Gerald, and every episode I have the privilege of visiting with a fellow Vernon Lion to revisit our high school days in Big V and share moments, memories, and milestones that carried us from our Vernon roots to wherever life took us next. These are the real-life journeys of classmates that walked the same halls, cheered under the same Friday night lights, roamed the Lion's Den floor, dragged Wilbarger Street, and watched the same Vernon, Texas sky light up. Our stories always begin in Vernon. Go, Lions! Welcome, everybody, to this episode of In a Flash, The Years Go By podcast. Today, I have the honor and privilege of speaking with the recipient of the Fighting Heart Award from Vernon High School, Jodie Stringer. Hey, Jodie, how are you, man?
How are you, Ray? Haven't heard that in a long time. I'm surprised anybody remembers that.
Well, I remember a lot, Jodie. A pretty good memory.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for this interview.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time and doing this. You know, for folks that don't know, this has been in the works for a while with Jodie's schedule, my schedule, other things going on. So we've been in the talks for a while to get this done. So I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, our agents did a good job of finally getting this thing negotiated and figured out, and I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to come on here with you, Ray.
Yeah. Well, I am too. And so my people got hold of your people, and we're good to go. All right.
Yes,
Cool.
all the lawyers are happy now. And
Yeah. All right. Okay, Joe. So it's good to see you. You and I were good friends in high school,
Yes.
and even in the college years.
Yes.
We kinda got away from each other, I guess, as life goes on.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a one memory I want to talk about is it seems kind of like a metaphor for life and for us in high school. And with your indulgence, let me kind of share what I remember.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. It was a time, I think we were seniors. We may have been juniors, but I think we were seniors. And we were in your bedroom, you, me, I think Roy Stolley, might have been Bubba Puckett, maybe Ken Brock. I'm not sure.
Your memory's already way better than mine, so you've already
Yeah.
lost me.
And we're in your room and we're just talking guy talk. We're talking probably music and sports and girls and cars and just
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff. Just funny, cracking up, just enjoying one another's company.
Right.
And then at some point, you pulled out a tape recorder that you had been recording us. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, you were.
No, and I deny all charges. So if anybody's listening, I
Well, the statute
actually
of
do not
limitations is
remember
out. So you pulled out the recorder and we listened to that. And it may have been for 30 minutes, however long the tape and the cassette was. And we just cracked up and laughed so
that.
much. And then we tried to recreate that.
Hmm.
And we were trying to be funny and say
Hmm.
stupid things and funny things. And it
Hmm.
just didn't work like the real
Right.
thing. And so
And it
that's what
never
I was thinking.
does. It
Yeah,
never
and
does.
that's what I was thinking about, like high school. You know, we do what we do in college and life, and then we think, oh, it's something that's good. I really want that to happen again, and
Yeah.
you can't recreate that. So
No, I think
I
that's
wondered
well
if you had
said.
remember that.
No, I don't remember that specific incident. I don't have a good memory about a lot of things. But if you say we did that, that's fine. But I believe that story because I don't think my experiences anyway, and maybe yours too. It's hard to recreate and make things when you plan it too much. And I think spontaneity is the spark of life, and I think that's probably one example, a microcosm of that.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so as we get started, where are you? What city are you in right now? Where you're
I'm
talking to me
currently
from?
in San Antonio. I just moved from Bernie after 16 years. We sold our house about a month ago and kind of caught me in a move here. That's why it took so long to get on here, but finally got in some temporary digs, as they say, until I can figure out what the next move is. We tried to downsize, my wife and I, because our kids are gone now to college and just decided to get out of a big 5-bedroom home.
Right. I can understand that. We were supposed to downsize and we kind of upsized, and
It
I don't
happens
know
a
why we
lot.
did that, but I don't know why we
Yeah,
did that.
I've been there, done that myself.
Yeah, yeah. We bought a home for friends, and they're only here every now and then.
Well,
So,
I've been in beautiful houses, five beautiful houses in my life, and not counting my own back in Vernon. But it's new, but it's good. It feels good to downsize and get rid of some things. And couldn't believe how much stuff we had in our house after 37 years. So it was amazing.
yeah, yeah. All right, we're talking about Vernon and home. You were born in Vernon, right? You're born and bred.
I was yes and no. I was born in Vernon, I believe, at some little small. I don't believe it exists anymore. Hospital there, but I actually am from Lockett, outside of Vernon. Spent my first 12 years out there, and I don't think I knew you at that time.
Yeah.
So I spent my formative years outside of Vernon on a farm. My dad was a local farmer, like so many are there, and grew up driving tractors and baling hay and doing all kinds of things that I learned to hate over time, and drove me away from Vernon, to be honest with you. But now, ironically, 50 something years later, I miss those days, and
Yeah.
see those things in a whole different light than a kid at that time.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know you, but I remember hearing the story, like who you rode the school bus with because you rode to Vernon. They didn't have the Lockett schools at that time, right?
That's
They
right. In
closed
fact,
up.
one of my memories, if you're going to ask that in this interview, is a yellow school bus. It's one of my distinct memories. Probably not many people come on your show and say that, but for me, Uh, I have very mostly fond memories, but wasn't all perfect. But we had a pretty unique circus on that bus, bus 19. I can tell you the number. It was a circus. Saw
Yeah.
a lot of fist fights. Saw a lot of people throwing things at the bus driver. I saw him throw his giant brush at somebody in the back of the bus. Saw people hanging out their windows and yelling and screaming and cussing at each other. And I just thought it was a normal day. I never really, after I got used to it, I just felt like it was a part of the Bus 19 trip. And, I really made some of my first friends on that. Roy Stolley was part of that, and Bill McNary and some other people.
Okay.
It went out and locked it and grabbed us and took us into the school system. And that was my brother and I. We all get a kick out of talking about Bus 19 because it truly was a circus. That's the only way
Bus
I can describe it.
Bus 19. Okay.
A,
I
a
kind of remember you
controlled
guys telling the story.
circus, a controlled circus. Yeah.
Right, right, right. I understand that. Okay, so what precipitated you guys, your family moving from Lockett to Vernon, and when did that occur?
My mom and dad bought a house in Vernon in 1977, and we moved into town. And for a country boy that's been on the farm, basically a heathen from the country, that was a big step for us. I remember having cable TV that first week for the first time in my life, and being introduced to Harry Carey and the Chicago Cubs and the Atlanta Braves on WTBS. And
Yeah.
I remember waking up in the morning and watching the Three Stooges and just thought that was the greatest thing on earth at that time. And we walked to the middle school, wasn't too far from us,
Yeah.
lived off of Gordon Street. And it was just a unique time in my life. And that was a big move. For us, it was like moving to New York City. I mean, we
Yeah.
literally around the country with not much going on, a lot of hay and cattle and cotton and wheat. And moving into the town of Vernon, it was a different experience, and one that I really enjoyed and liked, and
Great.
changed my life, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how did it change your life?
Well, you're just proximity. You're closer to people. When you're out in the country, you wait on bus 19 to pick you up, and that's when all the fun happened. And now my brothers and I, Jay and Jeff, I'm the middle. Jay and Jeff, we hunted a lot. We had guns, and that whatever kids do in rural settings to make themselves entertain themselves. But moving into Vernon, we were in middle school, so we were changing and getting access to a different level of education, and proximity changes everything. You could see friends every day and
Mhm.
and do things that you couldn't normally do logistically out in the country.
Right, right. Okay. And so going into high school, what was that like for you? Assuming you walked to the intermediate and now you're going to go to high school. What was that like? Were you scared? Did you walk in like a boss? What was that like for you?
Ray, I don't remember. I don't think I was scared, or I think I was just curious. I did not like school in general. I was not a good student. I wasn't very focused. I could do most of the work other than math, but I found my niche in high school because they had opportunities to be in agricultural classes, and athletics ended up being my ticket, and the opportunities that it presented really was probably just like everybody. It just gives you some doors to open that you didn't normally have.
Right. And what did you like about ag? Is it VOAG, vocational ag? What was that? What was that called?
Max Tatum. Max
Max
Tatum
Theta.
is what I liked about ag. We got to go out to the shop, Max Tatum and Mr. Tatum, unique person. I think he went on to be an administrator there in the ISD after we graduated. And my dad rode with Max in the Palomino Club, so I knew him through that venue and then also on the school campus. But he was a nice man and a good man and a caring man. He had his own unique way of doing things, but I enjoyed whatever we did. Um, I remember welding out there and, whatever teams we formed. I think I was on the radio team and the land judging team. But I thought it was a kind of a cool thing for a farm kid to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what did you learn from being in VOAG that maybe helped you later in life, or what qualities did you learn?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure I ever thought of it that way. I feel like the skills you learn on the farm get maybe applied at a commercial level. I remember us making one project. I don't know how often we did it. Maybe once a year, we would make these feeders for the Wagner Ranch.
Okay.
And so these same feeders are at my dad's house, but I don't know where he got them from. But here I am in the back of the shop making feeders for someone else. Um, so it's just seeing things and learning things that you can apply in real life. Skills, I guess, is what I would take from that program.
Okay. And what sports were you involved in high school?
Well, I played baseball, basketball, and football, and loved them all. And um, I don't know that I have a favorite. I probably baseball and basketball were my favorite. I wasn't particularly good in basketball, but loved to shoot a ball. But remember, Ray, in those days we didn't have a 3-point line, so the goal was to pass around 32 times and then dump it into the tallest guy you had on the team. Then you missed the shot, and then you went back for defense, and that's. I was fortunate enough to play on one of the. I think this is a verifiable fact. I think we play on the worst basketball team in the history of the community of Vernon since it's been a high school um, in 100 years. I don't think anybody's had a worse basketball season than we did our senior year. So
Really?
I love to play basketball. We just weren't very good, and did the best we could. The baseball now, we'll talk about that later. But we ended up having a really good season our senior year. And as you know, football was a mini disaster as well. We didn't have a lot of talent our senior year. They had some great teams before us. I'd rather talk about those teams before us than our team, Ray. But I distinctly remember Vernon going to some of the first football games in '77 and watching a tremendously talented football team from that year.
Hmm.
You had incredible athletes playing for a small community like Mark Tidwell. You had Billy Boyce. You had Keith Favors, Rusty Eads, Kent Morrison, Glendale Roski, Charles Norton. These are really impressive people playing at a high level. Back then, Ray, I don't know if you remember this, but back in those days, the state of Texas only allowed one team to advance in the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately for Vernon at that time, we had these great athletes, and I think we were state ranked in '77. But unfortunately, we got beat by Brownwood. Went up there on a Friday night and didn't play particularly well, and we got beat by I think 2 touchdowns or 1 touchdown. I don't remember the exact score, but it was very disappointing. And unfortunately, in those days, if you lost and you didn't win the district championship, you were done for the
Yeah.
year. And
Yeah.
Brownwood, the team that beat us, was the state champion. I mean, they went on to, I think they won 8 or 9 state championships under Gordon Wood. And so those athletes that came before us were, for me, inspirational. They impacted me. They gave me something to want to be like. And
Hmm.
we had a great coaching staff. Moved in '76 with Coach Britton and his staff. And even the team, Ray, when we were juniors, they had some great players and would have made the playoffs any other year, but they only took one team again.
Yeah.
But we played with some really talented players before us, and unfortunately for us, we did not have a very good team, and we had very little size, and we made up for it by not having any speed. So not having any speed or size was not a good formula for that
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
season, which
Yeah.
is disappointing.
Yeah, I can remember Coach Britton's retirement. Did you go to that?
I
His
did. I was
retirement?
there. Yeah,
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 and
yeah,
there's I think there was a write-up in the paper about, he had some really good teams before us, and he had some really good teams after us. He
yeah.
said, now that 80, even though we're class of 82, we were the 81 Lions, and he said something to the effect of 81 Lions, yeah, they were a lot of fun.
Yeah,
They're a
those.
fun
I
group.
mean, I talked to Leo and his staff as I got involved with coaching years later. We laughed about a lot of those things, and he was really nice and professional about it. We weren't very good, and it is what it is. We fell short. We had a couple upsets that season. People forget we actually upset a few teams that we were supposed to get killed by, but we didn't take care of business during district, and that was the difference. And in those days, again, you had to be first.
Yeah.
Second and third didn't help you, so. It is what it is, and but we played for a tremendous staff and one that changed a lot of lives, and including mine, and impacted a lot of young people along the way.
Yeah. So what was it like with playing or coaching or playing under Coach Britton or the linebackers coach? Was it Coach Coker was the linebackers coach?
Yeah, and I'll say this: I'm going to say a lot of nice things about Coach Britton. He changed my life, and so did Jay Brazel. But you cannot, you would be remiss to not talk about the staff that was put together there. We had a first class staff with Bill Ballou, had a tremendous impact on my life later as I became a head coach, and Gary Coker was our positions coach and in basketball as well,
Mhm.
and was really hard on me. But I came to realize as I got older that that's because he cared about you, and it was never personal. He pushed you hard, and I was very fortunate to play for Bill Ballou, Gary Coker, Walt Scott was a good guy. Everybody liked Walt, and there's some other guys, but we had a tremendous staff. I probably, if you talk to all the former players at Vernon, most of them remember their junior high and their JV and their freshman coaches.
Mhm.
Coach Bowles and Coach Brazel, JV coaches and freshman coaches. We just had Leo had done a great job of creating an energy where people wanted to be part of his program, and that included coaches as well from the area.
Yeah, great. You mentioned Coach Bill Ballou. I know there is another Coach Ballou, but do you mean Coach Blythe?
Blythe. I mean, I said Blue. I meant Blythe. You're right. It's Bill
Okay,
Blythe. And I
okay,
know Coach Blue, but Coach Blythe, Bill Blythe. You're right. I'm just getting
okay,
old. I'm sorry.
okay. No worries. I just wanted to be sure I didn't miss
No,
something.
I just think I remember Coach Blythe grabbing my face mask and reading me the riot act on the sideline. So it was Coach Blythe.
Yeah. Any specific memory about a game or anything about either practice or anything about football specifically?
Well, other than we were terrible, but I think Friday night, and when you're in a small rural town, I was fortunate enough to coach in some small towns, and I think the culture in Texas facilitates a certain amount of energy and positivity, and people want to be a part of it, whether it's through the band or the drill team or the cheerleading or fans. I think a lot of moms and dads were cheerleaders and football players, and they can't wait to go to the bleachers. And
Yeah.
at that time, I probably didn't understand that as well as I did later on. But I think the culture, for me, you asked about memories. Friday nights, and this kind of parallels what happened later on in my career. Friday nights are great. It's the test. Everybody it's kind of the examination on how your program's doing is Friday night. But what I really remember the most, Ray, is those long bus rides, back to those buses again, Ray,
Mhm.
on Tuesdays. Because back in those days, we played in a district like Weatherford or Mineral Wells or
Yeah.
Stephenville or Brownwood. And it seemed like it was the Tuesday nights on those lonely bus rides on maybe a baseball or basketball game that I remember the most, where I got to know people the most on those long, long bus rides.
Right.
And then, of course, you're expected to get up the next morning, go to class, and do your homework, which I didn't do anyway, so it didn't impact me. But I think for me, the drudgery of it is what I came to love the most. And later on, when I became a coach, my favorite days were Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It wasn't Friday night, and that was the preparation, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I remember that saying. I think Roy mentioned it when he was on the podcast about the desire to win is useless without the desire to prepare.
Was in my weight room for many years. Had
Yeah,
that in
you
my
carried
weight
that on?
room. Yeah. You know, I've heard that before, and I thought Leo dreamed that up and it's him, but I came to realize that's probably 1,000-year-old saying, but it's such an important saying because there's so much truth in it, and I think it applies to everything, not just athletics. And
Yeah.
um, as a teacher, an AP teacher, I push my kids to prepare for success. Hope is good, but preparing is even better. And the other one I always think of him is let's don't worry about who gets credit. Let's just get the job done. And that
Yeah.
one also a lot of reality for both of those. And I'll add a third one that I heard later on that became one of our main uh, themes or mottos, whatever you want to call it, was find a way. So we added find a way. I don't know who gave that to us, but we added find a way, and then what Leo gave us. Those two things, the desire to prepare is useless without the desire to. Desire to win is useless without the desire to prepare. Hope I said that right.
Yeah.
Those are really rooted in reality, in real life. They're
Yeah.
not just cliches that sound good on a poster board. They're applicable. And I made those three things the centerpiece of our athletic program when I was athletic director. And so I feel like Coach Britton and his staff and the direction they were taking the Vernon lines end up impacting not just me, but I'm sure lots of young people that got into the coaching profession. I remember one year, Ray, if you don't mind me getting off course here, I was at coaching school one year in Fort Worth. I think it was Fort Worth or Dallas, and Brian Britton and Brent Britton and I were standing there talking, and then another guy walked up, and I don't remember if it was Brant Clifton or whoever, Steve Tebow or whatever. There's a lot of kids that were in coaching by that time. And Ray, by the time we broke that little group up, there was over 25 kids from Vernon coaching
Wow.
that was in that circle, just visiting with each other.
Yeah.
Not saying everybody knew each other because there was a lot of younger guys than me. There were some people older than me, but I distinctly remember seeing how large that group was at coaching school, just visiting in a large convention center. And it really tangibly dawned on you how many young people Coach Britton and the Vernon ISD, because I give them credit. They were smart to hire good people. They brought in great instructors at the high school. And we were surrounded by great band leaders and drill team and cheerleaders. If you remember, Ray, we were pretty good at everything. We may not have won everything, but we were pretty good at everything. And that's because I feel like the Vernon ISD put their best foot forward for the kids of that community.
Awesome. That's great. I would agree with you. Uh, it's in terms of sports. Anything else about football or basketball before we move to baseball?
Just enjoyed playing with everybody. We wish we could have won a little bit more, but we didn't. And that's one of those things you learn from losses, you learn from wins, and I took that bitterness of that year because that was a hard pill to swallow, being one of the worst football teams in the history of the. Because Leo really, Ray, they had won up until us. They had finished second, I think 4 or 5 years in a row. And again, if the system was different and they would have taken more than one team, I believe some of those teams would have gone deep in the playoffs, but they didn't. Um, I don't really have much to say about basketball. It was a disaster, so I try to forget about that. But I did enjoy playing. I think we played in the old airplane hangar at the old middle school. Which,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
anyway,
Intermediate. Yeah.
yeah.
What did you, so in hindsight, what did you take away from that season? You talked about, we beat the two Oklahoma teams that we played, which
Yeah.
we weren't supposed
Yeah.
to, I don't think.
No.
Altus and Lawton MacArthur.
How about that?
And we tied Burke Burnett, which I think was pretty good that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you take away from us not having a winning season, but yet the things that
It,
you did?
it's a great question, Ray. It's a smart question. It's a really in-depth question. It's one that I've actually, in all honesty, took years to digest. Because when you're not successful, something whether it be at a relationship or a team or an accomplishment, whatever endeavor you're attempting to complete, when you're not successful, there's a lot of second guessing and hindsight and 2020 reflection. And I think for me, Ray, this may sound a little strange. I took it years later as I got older when I had my own program. I actually see us as we were pretty lucky to win the 3 games we won. We weren't very good. And I feel blessed to be a part of the program and not dwell on the losses, but dwell on the relationships and the people and the opportunity and the doors that opened for me. So I've chosen to look at it as a positive, even though it wasn't record wise. But how many doors it opened for me, and it changed my life. It gave me an avenue to be successful. I'm starting my 40th year in education this summer,
Wow.
and ironically, as much as I hated school, complained about it being a prison, it's given me a lifetime of enjoyment. And I
Yeah.
love teaching, and I love going to school and
Great.
seeing my students.
Awesome. Can we talk about the district winning baseball team for a while?
And I thought that's the only thing we were going to talk about today. So finally, it took
All
21 minutes
right.
to get there. I'm just joking.
All right. So what was that like?
As bad as things went, Ray, I don't know if anybody remembers out there, and certainly I can be corrected if I'm wrong, but as negative as things went in the fall, and they went pretty negative. Basketball, I didn't think anything could get worse than the football, but the basketball actually is something that was pretty depressing and not good. But Ray, for all that in the spring, and a lot of people don't remember this, they talk about the baseball, but our track won the district championship as well. We ended up on a really high level, a high note. We left the school on a high note in the last 3 months, and so that was a really positive time in our lives, and one that I cherish and appreciate. We had a really good team, and I'm going to go back, Ray, and do what I did for football. We stood on the shoulders of a lot of previous players that were really talented, and I think that if we're going to do these types of interviews, uh, yes, we had a great season, but I don't think we ever have that season if we don't have the 3 years before that. We had knocked on the door all 3 years. We had tremendous baseball players. Again, we did not finish first, so we didn't get to go to the playoffs. But the year before, probably the most stinging year was the junior year when I think it's Burt Burnett. Maybe some of the guys in the senior class above us, they can correct me on that, but I thought it was Burke. We lost a close game when we should have won. That really hurt us. There may have been another Graham or Mineral Wells. I don't remember, but
Mhm.
uh, we got so close the year before. We had incredible pitching with Brant Clifton, and we had Courtney Harvey at second. We had Ronnie Lucas at first. We had Rick Culler out in the outfield. We had Mike Richardson was the best catcher in the district. We really had a good baseball team. We fell a little bit short my junior year, and even my sophomore year. We had a really good team with Alan Welburn at third base, and Ricky Faust a few years before that was a great pitcher. Pete Hines. I saw some great baseball players, but again, if you don't win the district, you don't advance.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 1982. We were picked fourth, I believe. Somebody can correct me on that. I think we were picked fourth in district. And really, Ray, to be honest with you, people just kind of looked at it as, is this going to be the same old, same old?
Yeah.
And, you know, God opens many doors. And for us, we were blessed that year because we had some young talent. I want to make sure I mention the young talent that came up as a junior class. We had a tremendous first baseman, and Ken Brock had a lot of home runs for us. David G at Thirst came in, and we had a great catcher, Brad Clifton. Played linebacker with Miss Brad, and he was incredible behind the plate. Well, we had an absolute stud in center field that was a sophomore. You may remember Chris Burns. And
Yeah.
Kelly was in our senior class, and Chris, a lot of speed, saved a few
Mhm.
ball games for us, and I think Chris went on to play football at Texas Tech University a few years later, and we had enough seniors that were good enough. We had a great right fielder that was our leadoff hitter, David Loxton. He seemed like he was always on base. He was fast, as you recall, and I think probably the reason we had any success that year in '82, we had a tremendous pitcher with Roy Stolley, who had already been our ace. Roy, what I remember about Roy is I later became a head baseball coach. Roy threw hard, but Roy threw strikes. The key for Roy Stolley was he threw strikes. He didn't put people on base. You had to earn it off Roy. And, when you're playing behind Roy, they were going to have to hit the ball.
Yeah.
He didn't give anybody any freebies. And, as well as I do in baseball, ask the Rangers. If you can't get people out and throw strikes, you're not going to have a successful baseball team. But everybody knew Roy was going to be good, and he was. He was everything was advertised, and I think he went on to play college baseball and had a good career in Oklahoma. But the biggest surprise, Ray, for me, and what I remember about our baseball team is our number two pitcher, Johnny Alanis. Johnny really brought life to our baseball team. That we didn't just have one good pitcher; we had two good pitchers, and that depth ended up being the difference, in my opinion, and the young talent that we had around us. And very, very fortunate that we had a good year that year, and things fell for us, and God smiled on us. And Ray, for me, I think probably the one thing I remember about that year is it was making Coach Brazel happy,
Mm.
seeing a smile on his face and hugging everybody. And Coach Brazel was one of the most positive people. You know that, Ray. You know him well. But to see him achieve something that he had gotten so close, for me, it wasn't just about our senior year. It was a culmination of the baseball program finally getting over the hump and being our rival Hershey. I think three times that year, three out of four, or all three times. I don't remember. We didn't go very far. We got beat by a really talented Everman team that had two Major League Baseball players. Ellis Burks was center fielder for them, and Ellis found out later played 18 years in the Major League Baseball. 18
Mm.
years. That's quite a feat. And then, of course, their number one pitcher was the number one draft pick by the Chicago Cubs, Jackie Davidson. So years later, that helped take away the sting. But we had a great year. I'm very proud of that. But knowing we got
Yeah.
beat by some talented players helped a little bit.
Yeah. So my assumption is you played outfield, right?
Yeah, I was put everywhere.
You put
Left
left
field.
field?
That's where they hid me. I say they. I think they put me on the left field line and let Chris and David Loxton play the rest of the field. I could
Okay.
hit a baseball. Uh, I wasn't the fastest guy, and sometimes Jay let me run the bases because he knew I would throw a fit if he took me off the bases. But we had a lot of fun, and I'll say this, Ray, that baseball team. Really, I had grown up with those guys, playing with them for years in like the earlier leagues. I don't know what they're called.
Like the American Legion, that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're 13 or 14
Oh,
or
okay.
12, and we had played all-star games, and we had really had success. We really had won, and I actually like to give credit to the summer leagues of Vernon, not just the high school, because we had a lot of parents volunteer to be coaches, and I want to give credit. I know Roy was a great baseball player, but his dad had a great influence on him, and Bud Stolly meant a lot to me. Bevo's is owned by James Todd. Well, he was my summer coach for many years with Bud Stolly and some other guys. I don't want to leave anybody out, but
Right.
one that stood out for me was Ronnie Lucas's dad, and I miss him. Jerry Lucas. He had a big impact on me. I tend to have a temper, and when I didn't get my way, he always seemed to find a way to uh, talk to me on a level that made me realize that I was being stupid and selfish, and I've left so many off. I don't mean to leave off the other coaches, but
Sure.
I feel like Vernon, we were a result of a lot of other years that maybe people forgot about, and I want to take
Hmm.
opportunity to give credit to the Vernon again. The city of Vernon. I think Ray, we were there at the right time, the right place. Vernon was hopping at that time, and for a small town, and the quality of coaching in the summer league, I felt like helped me and made me a better player, and it paid off later on in the school
Yeah,
system.
that's great. It's a good. Uh, uh, I tell people a lot of times, even though I didn't move to Vernon until I was the summer before my ninth grade, I grew up in Los Angeles, California, inner city. When people ask where you're from, I don't say Los Angeles. I say Vernon, Texas, and it was a good place to be, especially in that time. That was
No
good.
doubt. I mean, I think it was a good place, and our parents were smart enough to pick that and stay there. And I feel very blessed to have the opportunity to grow up there. And in fact, I just was there last week. Went to see my dad, who's 85, and we had a birthday party for him. And my brother drove me around. Jay and Shelly stayed with him, and we went around and looked at some things and saw a lot of things are happening in Vernon right now. I don't know if you're aware, they're building a big data center there now, and
I heard
got
that. Yeah.
themselves a Starbucks. Vernon has a
Oh, they
Starbucks,
do?
man. Yeah, oh, big time now. Yeah, you got to elevate their status a little bit. Got a Popeyes chicken now. I mean, oh
No
my
way.
God. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I mean, look out. I don't know what's next. Might be a Chili's around the
It's
corner. You never know.
uh-oh. I remember when they didn't have a McDonald's when we were there. I remember it was a big deal when we got a McDonald's.
A
Uh,
McDonald's. Well, I don't know about you, but I always thought the burritos at Allsup's were good enough for me
pretty
on,
good,
on a
pretty
Friday
good.
night or Saturday night at 1 o'clock in the night.
Yeah,
That
those
was
are
like
good.
a feast for a king. Two burritos from Allsup's.
It's true. Hey, before we move on to the college years, uh, one thing I want to know, winning district. So you were on the field, I assume, when you
Hmm.
guys were
Yeah,
that final out.
yeah.
What was the feeling that you had? What did you do to celebrate? What was that like?
That's a great question. I that's a moment that's frozen in my life. We were at Hoskins Field in Wichita Falls. It been raining, and we had a big lead. Almost gave it up. Uh, but Chris Burns made a miraculous catch out in center field. They had bases loaded, I believe, and hit a line shot in the alley. And all I could, I mean, I had no chance to catch it. You might as well just set me down in the grass. But Chris Burns came out of center field like a lightning flash and caught it, and
Hmm.
and that as they have runners running around the bases to go home,
Yeah.
and that ended the inning and pretty much won the game for us to a
Hmm.
certain degree. If you could pin it on one play, and
Yeah.
when we made the final out, I think Roy had come in to close the door, and we got the out, and everybody went crazy, and it was a lot of fun. I think seeing Coach Brazel, just seeing how many hugs he got, and how many people, the adulation for him.
Yeah.
There's always friction between football and baseball. And by the way, that's at every school. I've never been anywhere where there wasn't friction. It's just a natural friction, and especially in small schools. But seeing our football coaches in the bleachers and seeing the support from the fans, and of course, our parents were awesome back then. We had a dedicated group of moms. I can't remember all their names, but they went to every game, and it was just a lot of fun. I think on a year that started out so bad, ending so positive, on such a high positive note, really gave you felt like you were part of the fraternity now, that you fit in the Vernon lexicon of everything that's been done there historically, that we had our place, that we had carved our spot out, and that meant a lot. It was a lot of
Yeah.
fun during that.
Yeah. And earlier you talked about the football, learning a lot from that adversity and not doing well, at least on the scoreboard, so to speak. But uh, when you play the by district games, what was that feeling like when you end your baseball career in high school? Like it's over. What was that feeling
Well,
with that?
that was a little bit different experience. I think it'd been raining that whole week. We were trying to find a dry field. I think that was the issue. We couldn't find a dry field, and I don't think any of us back then, Ray, it was not much technology. There was no internet and there was no social media. I don't think any of us knew how good they were. We just knew they
Mm,
were high school like us, and we played them tough the first game with their hard throwing right hander Jackie Davidson. I had only struck out 2 or 3 times the entire season, and he struck me out in the first 2 bats.
oh,
And I knew at that point when I walked back to the dugout that I was not meeting the moment. I certainly wasn't used to the velocity he was throwing at, and because for all the things I wasn't good at, I could put a ball in play, and couldn't find a way to put it in play that day. And that's when it dawned on me we're playing. It took years later to realize how good their center fielder was. He was their backup pitcher. He came in for game 2, and
hmm,
to me, was every bit as good as the first, the number one recruit, the number one draft pick for the Cubs. And then years later, you find out he plays almost 20 years in Major League Baseball.
yeah,
It was disappointing, but to a certain degree, I think we were maybe not satisfied, but we were in uncharted territory. We weren't ready for the playoffs. I don't feel like we had any experience. We were the first team to win district in Vernon's history.
yeah.
And I want to say this, and somebody out there that maybe is listening, they can correct me, but I think I have this right. The historian part of me, Vernon dropped down a classification 2 years after we left, and
Hmm,
so I believe we're the only team in the history of Vernon to win a district championship at the Class 4A level, which I'll
hmm,
remind everybody, 4A back then is what we call 5A today. So unless Vernon grows and does it again, and maybe they did it after we left, but I think they dropped down to Class 3A, and I think they've won district many times since that. But I believe we're the only 4A district champion, just because of the way it worked out, and they dropped down.
right, right. Okay, that's awesome. Man, I didn't even think
Yeah,
about
the
that.
picture, we had a picture that was in the cafeteria for years, and I don't know what happened. Somebody told me it burned up in the field house.
Oh,
And I believe there's no record of that team, the historical
oh,
record and team that truly was a historical team. Doesn't mean we're better or worse than anybody else, but we had done
right.
something that was historic. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but somebody told me that picture. I think they had a fire one year at the Fail House out
Oh,
there, and they said that picture was part of the damage. So I don't know.
oh,
I don't think there's any record of
oh,
us now there.
yeah, that's sad to hear if that picture's been lost. That's a good group of guys and still are. You all have it in your hearts and your minds and your memories, so that's where you can keep it.
Love playing with those guys. The juniors were a lot of fun, and Ken Brock went on to have a great career in college baseball, and I think David G may have played some college baseball, and Chris Burns went on to play at Texas Tech. We had a lot of fun. There was a lot of good guys on that team, and I cherish the memory of playing with those guys.
Great. Uh, in school, other activities you're involved in? I know you were in the senior play. You were
Yeah, I try to
Officer
forget that.
Muldoon. You're
Yeah, that
Officer
was
Muldoon.
that's a moment I've tried to forget. Not many police officers wear their ankle high Nike basketball shoes in the play. I told my students one year I was in the senior play. And they asked me what I did, and I said I embarrassed myself mostly. So that's the way I see my acting career.
Yeah, you were on the case of because Roy and I were the bumbling burglars, and Officer Muldoon was on the case to find us.
Okay, if you say so, Ray. If you say so.
And so, what other uh, teachers, not just coaches, but teachers
Yeah.
that impacted you?
A lot. For me, it's the English teachers, Miss Miller for sure, and Miss Hughes.
Yeah.
junior and senior teachers. Really, I've said this a lot to my students in my 40 years that my English teachers, I don't think I really was cognizant of it at the time,
Mhm.
but they want us to write, and I learned to write, and I learned to love to write, and to this day I love to write. I've written many scripts for different things, and I've gotten involved, ironically, in my career with writing things and
Hmm.
uh, uh, just things that I feel like they're an attribute of those years where, for the first time, somebody actually got me to do something that I didn't want to do. Now, let's be clear, I didn't want to do it, but
Right.
once I did it, I enjoyed it. I think one year I had to write a 5,000 word essay because I threw a pencil at somebody, and I was told I had 24 hours to write that paper, or I was going to see Coach Britton and Coach Noble, I think, and they had paddles in their back pockets. So
Yeah.
that fear alone,
Yeah.
I ended up writing something about a pencil, and I think I wrote about the rubber, the eraser. I wrote about Asia, where those rubber trees came from. I think I wrote about the wood, the lead, and the mining of lead. I think I wrote about the steel that holds the eraser. I wrote about the steel mills in Pittsburgh, and
Okay.
I think I shocked them, but I certainly didn't want to meet Coach Britton or any other body. I think it was Coach Noble. I'm not sure. There was someone else up there that scared the bejeebers out of me. And but anyway, having said that, I have learned to love writing. I really enjoy writing.
Good. That's great. Good to hear. And I'm looking forward to maybe we'll get into some of that writing stuff here when we talk about your career.
Okay.
And so, did you know in high school what you wanted to do with your life, who you wanted to become career-wise, that kind of stuff? Did you know that in high school?
I knew in the sixth grade I wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
I I
Wow.
I I I don't know why. Now I didn't want to do the schoolwork. I didn't want to do. I wasn't a very good student at all. I was used to baling hay and throwing rocks and driving a tractor. And for a country boy, school just didn't interest me a whole lot. I think maturity and through the years changed that. But I wanted to be a coach. I knew I didn't want to be on the farm. I can tell you that.
Hmm.
I did not want to drive a tractor the rest of my life. Now, ironically, Ray, 50 years later, I wish I had a piece of land, and I wish I had another tractor, and I wish I had another chance at that. I don't think I appreciated that at the time I was a young man. But you know, I think that those teachers and the skills they gave us and the leadership we had, I think I speak for many. I think it was a great foundation for our lives and our careers.
Yes, great. All right, before we move out of from graduation into college and career, you ready for a 2-minute drill? Quick, so where you answer some questions with some binary answers, this or that, or
I'm
that kind of
I'm
stuff.
I'm yours. Our lawyers have worked this all out, and that's part of the
Okay.
contract. So let's get it. Let's do it.
All right, all right. Let me get my glasses so I can read this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
hope you
my
don't
eyes are
mind. I have
getting.
my glasses. I can't see anything without my glasses.
Okay, let me set the timer for 2 minutes here. 2 minute
Okay.
drill. All right.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. Okay, United Supermarket or Coy's Foods?
United, but I miss my brother worked for Coy's, and I miss Coy's.
Okay. Rodeo or Bonfire?
Oh, rodeo! Wow, I can't even go. I can't tell you on the air what happened behind the scenes at the rodeo. I would
Okay.
afraid the FBI would fly in here and arrest people. So rodeo.
Okay. Dr. Pepper or Coca-Cola?
Well, Dr. Pepper, by far, Dr.
All
Pepper.
right. Journey or Foreigner?
Neither. Led Zeppelin is the answer.
Okay. Football banquet or all spring sports banquet?
Football banquet.
All right. Dairy Queen or Bevo's?
Wow, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Bevo's. Uh,
Bevo's, okay.
Not many people put chili cheese on their hamburgers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They're both good, but for me, Bevo's is special in Vernon, Texas.
All right. Football or baseball or track?
Well, I'm gonna act like you didn't say the third sport because I was the slowest guy on the campus. Well, I love my favorite thing to coach is football, but as a player, probably baseball. I really enjoyed playing baseball.
Okay. Junior prom or senior prom?
Neither, both were a disaster for me. I guess senior. I guess
Okay.
because it was one close to being over with.
Okay. All right. This one's a three for band or drill team or cheerleaders.
Well, my daughter was a cheerleader. I would say drill team and then cheerleaders.
Okay. Osborne's or TG&Y?
I haven't had that choice in a long time. I'll go Osborne's.
Okay. All right. Running or lifting weights?
Lifting. I mean, I never like running. When you're slow like me, that's never a good option.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Miller's Quick Check or Allsup's?
Well, for me, I grew up. My grandmother lived near Miller's, so for me, it's Miller's, just because all the
Miller's.
memories at Miller's.
All right. Lake Camp or Pease River?
Oh, by far, Lake Kemp. Uh, all I did on Pease River was drive over and look at it. But Lake Kemp, a lot of memories at Lake Kemp.
Yeah. Hardee's or Sonic?
And you were right there at the lake with me, Ray. So
I
I'll just leave
was.
it at that. Yes, you were. And what was the next one? I'm sorry.
Hardee's or Sonic?
Oh, well, Hardy's I got in trouble at one night on a Friday night. So let's go to Sonic.
Okay. All right. Senior play or one act play?
Well, since my thespian career ended with the one act play, I'm going to go with the one act play.
uh, Pep rallies or bus trips?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I loved our pep rallies. I ended up copying, believe it or not, as a head coach, some of the things happened at our pep rallies. I used to hand out sticker awards at the pep rally to our football players because we got that at Vernon, and that was great when you got your name called to go up there
Yeah.
and get whatever they were handing out. And
Yeah.
but what was the other one? The other one was pep rallies or what?
It was the bus trips.
Well, I told you earlier, the bus trips for me had a more formative part of my life, so I'm going to go with
Yeah.
bus trips, believe it or
All
not.
right. All right. Uh, the cafetorium lunch or off-campus lunch?
Well, I don't remember us going off campus. Maybe it's because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
I thought our cafeteria did a pretty good job. I think we had the best rolls in America.
They were good.
I
I forgot
remember
about
people
that.
going up there and grabbing extra rolls.
Pizza Hut or Pizza Point?
Pizza Point, not
There
even
you
close.
go. There
Pizza
you go.
Point. Who else? You had the record player machine.
Yeah,
Uh, I forgot what they call it, but you go up there and put your quarter in there, and
the jukebox.
yeah, the jukebox, and you could play your great whatever you're listening to, the Eagles or your disco music, and eat your pizza, man. It was great.
Yeah. Pizza or putt-putt or skating rink?
Ooh, I don't remember playing a lot of putt putt in Vernon. The skating rink when I was younger, I got knocked down a lot, and I knocked down a lot of people going round and round to disco music of the Bee Gees. So I'm going to go. The skating rink.
Okay. The Plaza Movie Theater or the Drive-In Theater?
Oh, the Plaza for sure. Not even close
All
for
right.
me.
Uh, Pioneer or JVC?
Well, I was a JVC guy. You may recall I had a lot of stereo equipment, and I was a JVC guy. Pioneer was great. I just couldn't afford Pioneer, so JVC turned into something I loved and
Okay.
used.
Okay. Pre-game or halftime?
Oh man. Well, I hated pregame because I was dead tired and could barely move after pregame. That I was told we're warming up. I felt like I'd run a track meet, and halftime I feared because I knew I was going to get screamed at, and so I'll say pregame
Okay.
because there was the band, the cheerleaders, and the drill team part of that, and
Yeah.
for me, neither one of them ended up being real positive. especially at halftime. The
Okay.
only thing that outmatched the halftime was the post game the next morning, Saturday film session, which was
Yeah.
a dreadful 2 hours in my life.
All right. The last one. Would you rather get licks or get detention?
Well, I got a lot of licks at Vernon. No doubt they beat me to death, and I'm a better man for it. Don't remember doing a lot of detention. I think I took my licks to avoid detention. And so, in Goodfellas, the guy says you got to take, sometimes you got to take a beating in life. Well, that's the way I looked at Vernon. Sometimes you just got to take a beating. And it all worked out for me. Everything's fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, and we talked about this right before we started recording. Is that light looks like you got little bit of heaven shining down on you, so that's good. You got somebody watching out for you.
It follows me in all phases of my life, down the highway and on campus and everywhere I've been. So,
Right. Okay. All right. Well, you did great on that. I think you got 100%. So you did pretty good. That's good.
okay. That was a lot of fun, Ray.
Hey, all right. So we're
Yeah.
graduated, and
Yeah.
you and I head off to West Texas State University.
Yeah.
What was the reason went to WT? How'd you pick that college?
Well, I chased my high school girlfriend there, and to be honest with you, Ray, I put no effort into preparing for anything. I wasn't ready for college. Ended up not liking it. Didn't work out for me. It wasn't a good fit. It was too small. I wanted bigger. I wanted big football games and wanted some big basketball games. And uh, during somewhere in there, you might recall, I think the winter of my freshman year, I traveled over to Lubbock to go stay with Michael White and Courtney Harvey, not Courtney, Chan
Clint?
Campsey, excuse
Oh.
me, Chan Campsey, and Kevin Goodrum were living in the house. I went over there and hung out with them for a couple nights and fell in love with the place. Actually, fell in love with it. It was felt like it was a lot better fit, and transferred as soon as I could, and never looked back. It was a great move for me, and ended up being a really good decision long term.
Hmm. Okay. So you're at WT for a year?
8 months and 4 days and 4 hours.
All right. So you transferred to Tech.
Yeah.
And so I assume you were in the secondary education major?
To be quite honest with you, Ray, I wasn't into anything. I was
Okay.
just taking classes and really lost soul, and just kind of hanging on by a thread. And probably not the best decision, but Michael and Chan and Kevin had recruited me to be in a fraternity, a Greek fraternity on campus. When you're not making good grades, joining a fraternity may not be the best recipe. But I survived. I finally, after a few semesters, started figuring things out. And believe it or not, by my junior, senior year, I was doing well and had fixed a lot of issues, and end up on the dean's list my last two semesters.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like everybody, it was a maturing process, and time heals a lot of things. And for me, I have a lot of love for Texas Tech because a lot of good things happened to me there. I met a lot of great guys in the fraternity. Ended up getting my little brother 3 years later.
Mhm.
Got my little brother in the fraternity. And later on, we got some other burning guys. I think
Mhm.
Chancey Puckett came on board, and Jeff Judd, and two guys I think a lot of and respect, and was glad they joined. And we had a lot of fun. We were really good in athletics. We kept
Mhm.
winning the university blanket, which was best athletic fraternity on the campus. And I remember in that fraternity with 230 guys,
Wow.
a lot of guys were like me. They weren't good enough to play college on any type of scholarship, but they were pretty good. And there was a lot of competition for our baseball team, our softball team, and our basketball team, and our football team. And really enjoyed it. It almost like it was other than playing real college football or basketball or baseball, it was a good fit for me and scratched the itch that I needed scratching.
Okay. That's great. I can remember you were how proud you were getting the dean's list a couple of those semesters.
No one
Uh,
was more shocked than me and my parents. I mean, it was a you would have thought that I had delivered a baby. It was a but for me, it was by the end of my senior year at Tech, I had actually not really dropped out of the fraternity, but I was gone. I had gone inactive and really didn't
right,
care much about it, and was really ready to start my career. I really
right.
couldn't wait to finish and move on. So all those things are like everything in life. They serve as vehicles to help us get somewhere. They were bridges for me, and I was just again a reoccurring theme, Ray. I was in the right place at the right time, and I was blessed. And I've been
Mhm.
blessed my whole life, and I count those as more blessings.
Great. All right. So you graduate, and so what do you do then? Let's talk about your career. What have you been up to these
Well,
past
the first
40
thing I did
something
when I
years?
graduated back then, student teaching lasted 6 weeks. So I was done by March. By spring break, I was done with college
Hmm.
and I was out of money, broke, uh, and I moved back to Vernon to work for my dad again on the farm
Oh.
until I could find a job. And, they don't hire teachers until the semester's over for the next year. So I was really in a dead area, a dead time in my life. Um, and then my dad, I give him full credit because he put me to work on a barbed wire fence out by Chillicothe, Texas,
Yeah,
and with see what do they call it, the railroad ties with
yeah,
the black stuff all over it, and
yeah.
had the postal diggers, and Ray, it was just one more reminder why this is not a life for me, and I don't think we ever finished that. My brother maybe could talk more about that. Jay, he was kind of our leader, and I don't remember finishing that fence, but I remember working on it for about 6 weeks, and it was just painstakingly slow and
Yeah,
cruel. I thought my
yeah.
dad was probably just doing it just to upset me, and but our cows were getting out, and he needed help, and I was coming back from college, so went out there and worked physically really hard, Ray, for about 2 months. And
Yeah.
I remember I got a call. My mother said that somebody called me wanting to see if I want to come for an interview. And of course, I jumped all over that. I would have gone anywhere. It didn't matter if Alaska called. I was ready to go. So I interviewed at a few places. Henrietta, remember driving up there and bragging
Hmm.
them how good Vernon was, and that was the end of that. They didn't want to hear about Vernon. I don't think Henrietta had won 5 games in 5 years, and I was talking about all the discipline and the organization for Leo Britton, and I never got a call back from them. I'm sure that was pretty dumb, but I got a call from Ingleside, which is on Corpus Christi on the coast. And I remember telling my dad I really need to go to this interview, but Ray, between me and you, I had no intention of going to Corpus Christi. I just wanted to get out of work.
Yeah.
So I used that as a little vacation. I drove down there, and on my way back, I had heard there was a job opening at a little school outside San Antonio, and I applied. And they called me while I was on that trip to Corpus, and I went by there and interviewed, and they offered me a job in 1987, I believe, spring of '87. Yeah, um, $17,000 to come coach and teach at their middle school.
Yeah.
And never has someone signed a piece of paper as fast as I did. Then I told my dad I would be leaving and I could not finish his fence, which
Oops.
I don't remember his comment to me or whatever. What I do remember is being so excited about getting my first job. It wasn't much of a job; it was a junior high job. I was going to be an eighth grade football coach, and I think I moved to San Antonio 2 months early because I don't get a paycheck right till September. So I'm down there with no paycheck.
Hmm.
And I look back at that today as, not financially the smartest moves I ever made, but I was so excited to get that first chance. So I spent 5 years there, met my wife there, and got married there in 1990.
Now,
And
when you say San Antonio, this is Floresville, right?
Floresville's a little town about 23 miles south of San Antonio. I
Is it in
lived
that
in
school
San.
district?
Yeah, they're their own school district.
Okay, okay.
They're a very unique school district. I met a great group of kids. Said I would be there one year, and I ended up staying 5. I fell in love with the place actually. Coached a lot of good kids, and it just worked out. In the 5th year, we changed coaches, and the new coach wanted the old staff out. And so I learned a hard lesson. My first lesson in coaching, and so I moved on and got lucky and ended up in Waco, Texas, at Mart Panthers, a very historic, legendary program, and had a lot of success there. Coached some tremendous athletes at Mart. I would say, Ray, that out of all the schools I've taught at, Mart has the most per capita athletes that we just.
Really?
Oh, I cannot. It's hard to talk about how much I inherited I was a head basketball coach, believe it or not, and baseball coach there, and got the job because the guy that interviewed me was the AD, did not want to do it anymore, and had told me that we're going to have a terrible team. It's a rebuilding year, and they gave me the job basically because no one else wanted the job, and I wanted to be. I was looking to move up
Mm-hmm.
and get back north. I'm not from South Texas, and I wanted to move back up north. And Waco seemed like a logical step, and moved up there. And we had a couple good runs. We ended up winning 19 basketball games in a row, won the district with a rebuilding year, which I thought, Ray, after I got the kids, wow, y'all got more athletes than anybody ever seen. And they thought it was a down year. It was going to be a down
Wow.
year. But anyway, had a great season. Baseball the next year came with it. You went to work. I had to do, and I was also a football coach there, so I was working full time.
Yeah.
Probably the reason I left Mart, I felt like had too many things going on. Head baseball, head basketball, and varsity football. Just did not enjoy it. Plus, they had a school board that was very micromanaging. They were telling the coaches what to do, and I didn't like that. And I wanted to move further north. I wanted to get back to my roots in North Texas, and but I wanted to mention this. My second year as a head baseball coach, I had some problems with some seniors who didn't have good attitudes. So I think I fired most of them and kept one, Jeff Pekacic, as my catcher. And I moved some 5 freshmen up, and we went 3 rounds deep in the playoffs with those 5 freshmen in baseball.
Wow.
Got to play at A&M University. Got beat at A&M. Kyle Field off in left field. That was a lot of fun. With 5 freshmen starting, we got beat 3-2 in the 10th inning, the last play of the game, and that was a memorable game for me. But I left after that and got back to the Metroplex after that.
Okay.
Ended up in
Well,
Lindsay in Gainesville, much closer to Vernon.
okay.
German community, knew nothing about it, never heard of them, and fell in love with that place. Kids were great, hardworking German kids on the Red River. Rival was Munster. Really didn't know anything about Munster either, but I soon realized, Ray, when I got there, this is a heated rivalry. These two German communities do not like each other at all.
All right.
And I didn't really care. It didn't matter to me. I didn't feel like but I was part of the staff, and Munster was number 3 in the state. We ended up beating them 14-6, upsetting them, and we went to the quarterfinals 2 years in a row at Lindsay, which was a lot of fun.
Great.
And my basketball team was a head basketball coach, knocked off the number 1 team in the state, Ponder Lions. With some of the people in Vernon may know Ponder now. They were a small 2A school back then, and they had won state the year before and beaten us by 50 points the year before.
Wow.
I mean, we were just no match for them. They didn't play football. They were all basketball. It was a basketball school. And the next year we upset them. And you would have thought we won the Super Bowl. It was like everybody rushed the court after the game. And I was given a district honor by the coaches, coach of the year. And that was the end of my basketball career. That night and that game, I decided that basketball was not going to be part of my future because I wanted to be an athletic director, Ray. And as you know, in Texas, your basketball coach has limited power, and the football guy has all the power. And I love football. That was my main love anyway. So at that point in 1995 or 6, somewhere in there, I made a conscientious decision to hang up and be done with the basketball.
Okay. And so then what did you do?
Well, I jumped over to my first 6A school, which was 5A back then, but 6A today, the Colony in Louisville. Got hired as their quarterbacks and running backs coach. And that was a big step for me, Ray, because I learned some very serious football at that level. We're playing Flower Mound, Marcus, Grand Prairie, South Grand Prairie, McKinney.
Big schools.
Louisville Fighting Farmers had won two state championships with the guy's name, Ronnie Gage. They were a powerhouse with the wishbone. And then, Flower Mound Marcus was very, very famous in the state. We ended up winning the district, believe it or not, and beat Flower Mound Marcus in triple overtime. No, I lied. We beat him in overtime to win the district championship. And I worked for a great man. And he ended up getting the stadium named after him. And I took that particular year where we had so much success at the 6A level, and I was offered a head coaching job at a little town outside of Sherman called Whitewright. And I took the big plunge and got to be in charge, and had a great career there. We went 25-3 in 2 years and two state quarterfinals, regional finals. Got beat by the state champs from Salina Bobcats, and played in some pretty big games with big crowds for that size schools, and that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of success, and I'm very proud of those years.
Great. So the rest of your career, were you a head coach, or did you move into administration?
Mostly head coach. I was asked to move in. I was asked by two schools to become their principal, and one had even mentioned maybe one day a superintendency. I went back to the University of North Texas while I lived in Denton to get my master's and become a principal. But the success at Whitewright led to another opportunity, and my wife got pregnant, and I chose the money and the coaching instead of going down a different path. I kind of shut that door at that time and stayed with the coaching. And I was head coach until I left Whitewright, and my wife and I wanted to return to where her parents were here in San Antonio. And that was the last time I was a head coach. In 2010, we went 11-1. Out of the 4 years at Whitewright, I think we won. I think we went 10-0 3 of the 4 years I was there. So it was a lot of fun at that little town, and a lot of great memories. I coached a lot of good players, and got to coach a kid named Tyrone Swoops, who went on to be the big quarterback for UT on the goal line, and I think they call him the 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Moved back to San Antonio, finished my career at another 6A school as a receivers coach at Ronald Reagan High School. A lot of fun, a lot of wins, met a lot of great guys, worked for a tremendous head coach, David Wetzel. And unfortunately, my last year, I broke my back. I had a severe injury that it really ended whatever I was going to do. I had to learn to walk again.
Really?
Yeah, I was on a walker for a couple months. Then I moved to a cane, and I think they put 6 rods in my lower back, and could not move. Couldn't really move anymore. And if you can't move, that's probably not a good thing if you're going to be a football coach. And I had hit my year number for retirement. I made sure of that, and when I hit my number, I retired from public school in 2016, and 29.5 years was over. And then I moved into the private school, what I'm doing today. I started a second career working with private schools, and right now I'm at a great school. It's an all-girls college preparatory school in San Antonio called Incarnate Word High School.
Okay.
And I'm head of their department, and was the head of department at St. Anthony Catholic before that. And so next year will start my 11th year in private school. So it's a second career. Got out of the coaching, had cancer, beat cancer a couple times, a couple tumors they found. So got lucky. They were tumors in my skin, and they were malignant. Kind of scared me a little bit, but we got through it. Everything's fine. One in my left calf and one in my left eyeball, right underneath my left eye. Had to have cosmetic surgery after they cut the tumor out. You can't even tell. If I saw you today, you wouldn't be able to tell that I had surgery there. But a lot of stitches the next day. It looked like a cross, like a big cross had been stitched into your left eye. And it was
Yeah.
painful, but I got through it, and I'm a better man for it. And again, I've been blessed my whole life. They found it early
Yeah.
and got it out, and I'm no different than anybody else. Feel very blessed
Yeah.
that all ended up fine.
That's I don't. I remember you got hurt. Are you willing or able to share how you broke your back?
Oh well, the back was a freak injury, but I think what you're talking about, I had gone through another health issue 10 years before that. I had a bad car wreck, flipped my car 7 times when I was at Whitewright, and almost killed myself. And that led to a very strange period in my life where I started having seizures, started
Hmm.
passing out. I was cooking dinner one night at my house and just passed out while I was cooking, and they took my driver's license away. I couldn't drive anymore, and that led to me resigning and taking a year off from coaching because that was a scary time. And what we found out later, they gave me the medication was an experimental medication, and it landed up in a big lawsuit. I never did get involved, but it certainly wasn't a good time for me. For about 6 months, I literally did not know what was going on in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of a dark period, but I got through it again, blessed, and got back on track and got back into coaching about 2 years later, and all good.
Okay. Well, I remember seeing you, Jody, at I think it was your grandfather's funeral. I don't even know if you
So
remember us
okay,
because
that's okay. That's when I was on the medication.
yeah, and I think and seeing you at that time, that was something. I remember Roy. Roy was pretty broken up to see you like that, and so
Well,
it was tough.
it was a hard. I had to get away from everybody.
Yeah.
It was a deal where I couldn't take any sunlight. I was getting migraines and passing
Yeah.
out, and they put me on a really, I don't know what it was. I can't tell you the name of it, but it basically turns you into a zombie during the
Yeah.
day. And it was a hard time. We got off that medication. I quit having seizures, and 2 years later, I was fine.
Yeah.
But just for about 6 to 8 months, maybe almost a year, it was hard because I had become the AD at Sanger ISD and really loved it. Just got started, played one ball game and started falling out. So never really got going at Sanger. I don't have any really memories of Sanger because of all that.
Mm. And then, have you been free of seizures since
Oh
then?
yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Great.
Again, a year and a half later, really no residual of
Okay.
anything, but just what it was I had hit my head in the wreck. I flipped the car 7 times. I was going way too fast. Hit a puddle of water, went
Mm.
airborne, and wasn't wearing my seatbelt. So everybody, wear
Oh.
your seatbelt out there. I'm living proof. But I had a head injury that was way more severe than anyone realized. Uh,
Mm.
when I went back to the sideline 2 weeks later, I had taught my staff the offensive system that I wanted to use. I had, to be honest with you, copied this coach and copied that coach and put together a hybrid system. And I was pretty proud of it, to be honest with you. Liked it and had taught my staff the system that I had created
Mhm.
from other people. But when I got back, Ray, I couldn't remember any of my own plays. I couldn't remember anything that I had taught, and I felt lost on the sideline. It was just a dark time. It was a hard time.
Yeah.
We ended up having a great year, and I got better at the end of the year, and we almost won state, ironically, at the end of that year. But
Wow.
I don't think I was ever the same after that wreck. My wife told me that she just saw lots of changes, and it did. It had an impact on my life, and but again, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say right now. I feel very blessed that I came through that.
Yes.
God was taking care of me, and I learned a lot from that. And the way I'm going to look at that is that was just another time in my life that God was testing me, and I feel very blessed to come through that too.
Great. Great.
But I've had
Uh,
my challenges, Ray. I guess you can tell with the broken back and and then the cancer was really scary,
yeah.
and then the wreck. Those were three things that were pretty physically challenging for me.
Yeah. I don't remember I don't think we had spoken in a long time. But how did you break the back? How did you break your back? Because I don't remember that.
Well, according to my neurologist, the back was already messed up, and that I was involved in some football roughhousing with some linemen, and I went down, and I felt when I physically went down that morning, I felt something sharp in my lower back, and the pain was so immense I could barely even move. I felt like my back had turned to butter, and got in, and we tried to brace for a while. That didn't work, and then they found a second crack in the vertebrae that was growing toward the other crack. And then we realized we're going to have to do fusion surgery. So my neurologist, back guy, decided we're going to go ahead and fix this.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that was a pretty scary deal. That knocked me out for the year of 2015. I didn't get to coach in 2015 because of that. So if I was out of coaching, Ray, I was either in a wreck or I was in some type of back surgery or something like that.
Wow, those are some serious things you went through. And
Well,
so,
I didn't advertise it. I didn't go around telling everybody. I wasn't
right,
trying to advertise it.
right. And so, how did you get through those times? I assume it's, months, whatever many years, whatever it takes to get through that. How did you have the wherewithal to get through that?
Well, that's a great question, and I've been asked that because I've been a guest speaker at several banquets and things. And um, for me, it was my faith. It goes back to my grandmother, my great grandmother, and our faith at First Baptist Church or Calvary Baptist in Vernon, Texas, and maybe not understanding what faith was as a young man, but as you get older, you start realizing what faith really means when you're challenged in life. And I had a great wife. My wife was right there the whole time. I had a great family, and just like everybody else, you have the right people around you at the right time. And had a great support system from the coaches and athletic directors. And I got to mention, I have some great superintendents and principals as well, Ray, that took care of me. And again, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I just feel blessed. The right people were around me at the right time. We all have adversity. My story is no different than everyone listening. Everyone listening right now has their own adversity. I had mine. Everybody has theirs. I was just lucky and blessed to have the right people around me and surround me. And that foundation at Vernon of not giving up and never quitting and finding a way, and all those lessons you learn in athletics are easy to say. It's easy to say those things and
Yeah,
put them up on the wall, but it's a whole different ballgame when you got to live it. And for
yeah,
me, I feel again, God bless me, and that's how I look at life. No matter what happens to me, I've just decided I've been blessed, and we are all blessed, by the way, not just me. So that's how I see things.
great. It's a great testimony to your faith, and so where it's how it's grown, at least since high school. Uh, it's I noticed when we talked in preparing for I'm trying to coordinate this interview today. You talked about what you're doing with your current gig, and there's some kind of competition you're doing, and I thought that's a thing. What is it that
Well, I'm
because
currently, ironically, you're making me dig deep here, man. I'm having to peel all the onion layers back. I am currently a guy that is a coach of an investment club. Our
at the
girls,
school?
yeah, we
Okay.
compete with other schools. We invest in real stocks on the New York Stock Exchange, and then we have to get up in front of a group of shark judges, like the Shark Tank, real
Yeah.
people that work for investment firms, and you have to talk about your portfolio, why, and what were your strategies of creating that portfolio, and then we pitch a stock. We try to get them to buy one of your stock, and it's called pitching a stock. And we've won 3 years in a row. Very proud of that, and it's always fun. I love seeing my girls beat all the guys.
Yeah.
That's it's probably one of the highlights of my life is seeing my girls, 15 or 20 of us, 12 of us, whatever it is, 15, whatever we have,
Yeah.
beating these all guys teams, and it's a lot of fun. It's a different avenue, something different.
Yeah.
But I like the competition, and Ray, for about 2 hours once a year, I get to feel the Friday Night Lights for 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
pretty intense. The judges are pretty tough. They ask tough questions, and you have high school kids trying to defend their choices to real life shark shark top judges.
Yeah, wow, that's I was when you told me that I was like, that's a thing. There's so many different competitions that we didn't have in school, or even sports that we didn't like. We didn't have
It
that.
is a lot of fun. I got lucky. I'll tell you another. You're going to get tired of this same old theme. I got blessed. I met a guy that asked me to be in the competition, and I didn't really know much about it. And I'm still not an expert. I'm certainly no expert on anything, but you can do your own research and figure out what to do. It's like coaching,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you find the right kids. I've been very blessed to have a very talented group of girls the last 3 or 4 years. Um, that you have to find a combination of kids that want to be on stage, first of all, that they're
Mm,
not afraid to perform,
right.
but they also have to have a certain level of expertise in the financial world and investing. And so I've tried to, believe it or not, Ray, I think my coaching's helped me. I've tried to find two girls that are technically smart on that, but I look for the one girl in my AP classes or my regular classes where that loves to present. They're good at presenting, and what they exude is confidence. I'm looking for that girl that has confidence, that student that has confidence. And um, we've just been fortunate, been blessed to have the right combination the last few years.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
and then our
Yeah,
kids get real money. We actually get real cash. We've made some money the last few years, and I give the girls a dividend check after the end of the year. I give them back
really.
money that they earn. Oh yeah, they play with fake money, but they earn real money at the end.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
Does any of
So
that go to the school or no?
well, I don't know what the other schools do with theirs. I've chosen to give it back to the girls.
Okay, because
This
they earned it.
last They earned it, but this last year we had a unique problem. We had so many girls join the club. Our dividend checks have gotten down to pretty small, so I've put it in a savings account, and I haven't decided what to do with it yet this year.
Okay, all right,
But
great.
I think that's a good problem. You're getting too many kids in the club.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about a lot about your coaching. I know you're history, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah. History
majored in or
major. Yeah,
mine.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I remember you and I having at least one, I think only one, debate about what's more important, math or history. I remember because I
Oh,
was a math guy.
I thought you were going to say something else. I'm glad you said that.
Well, we probably had a lot of debates about different
You and I
things.
have had a lot of debates, but it wasn't about math or history. But
Yeah. So which one is more important in the world? And you were adamant that it was history. So
yeah.
tell me about your you talk about your coaching career and coaching athletes and but in terms of teaching, what impact has that had on you and the impact you've had on kids?
Well, I'm going to flip that question, Ray. It's a great question. Wow, you're a pretty impressive interviewer. I'm going to start calling you Martin Scorsese. Ray, for me, I'm going to flip it on you. I
Okay.
actually was a good teacher with my football players. I spent a lot of
Okay.
time teaching them why we want to step with this foot or put this hand right here or whatever we're doing. And so the classroom has, for me, almost been a natural. I love teaching. I bring a lot of passion in the room. I think my kids roll their eyes because I'm so passionate about everything. And whatever we're going to talk about, if it's worth doing, then let's do it right. So I feel like the football and those expectations of being our best came into the classroom. I actually think athletics and that world of competing made me a better teacher. So I try to get my kids to write at a high level, to think at a high level. My biggest thing is I pretty much force everybody to participate in class. You're not allowed to just sit and watch. You must participate. You actually get an academic grade for participating in my class. So by getting kids to put 2 feet in, by getting kids to participate and have 2 feet in the water, I feel like it's created success over those years. I've gotten two Teacher of the Year awards, one public, one private, and another
Mhm.
award from University of North Texas, uh, TAMS, Teacher Impact Award. I don't remember the name; it was a long time ago. But
Okay.
I've had a great career in the classroom. I'm very proud, Ray. If I walk away from all this for all the coaching. I'm most proud of my classroom.
Yeah.
I've had the most impact in my life in the classroom. It wasn't coaching, and I'm very proud of that. Actually,
Yeah. What's that? I, I used to coach kindergartners basketball, right?
oh,
And for
God
ten for
bless you.
ten for
God
10
bless
years
you.
in this
God
upward
bless
church
you.
league.
Wow.
And
God
that
bless you.
was the most fun I've ever had because you see the growth from a kid who can hardly
Sure.
dribble as a
Sure.
5-year-old to
Sure.
making the baskets your least skilled person. So
Sure.
I'm guessing that you're teaching because you talked about the coaching, you were able to move coaching into your teaching the girls the
Mhm.
financial stuff.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of blending between teaching and coaching.
No doubt about it.
What's the reward for you for teaching?
For me, it's the three shoe boxes full of letters that I have in my closet that are just stuff full of thank you letters. I don't want to talk about too much because I'll get emotional. Because the other day in the move, ironically, I found the three shoe boxes and started reading through some of them again, which I don't read very often, to be honest with you. I mean,
Right?
I keep them all, um, but they're very inspirational and they remind you of why we're here. It's the relationship with the kids, it's that impact. And those shoe boxes mean more to me than uh, anything financial or any trophy. None of that
Right.
stuff matters to me now. It took me a long time to realize it's not about you; it's about them.
Yeah.
And those letters, I got one the other day, Ray, from a girl who sent me a long letter with a picture from the side of the road in Tennessee, Dayton, Tennessee, I believe it was. I usually spend a day or two on the Scopes monkey trial from the
Okay.
1920s about creationism versus evolution. It's
Right.
one of my favorite things to talk about. Well, this young lady was in my class. She's still in the front row, and the guy standing with her was her new husband, and his name was Levi, and he was in the back of the class. And they took a picture at a sign, a roadside of the Scopes monkey trial, the side of the Scopes monkey trial, and wanted to thank me. Not only did they remember the trial 20 years later, they wanted me to know they got married, and that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But just the whole inspiration of the whole letter. But I've got a whole lot of them like that, and they're all good, whether they're short or long. And for me, that's the gold.
Yeah.
That's the pot of gold is knowing that somebody you help. You may have helped them. Hopefully, I didn't hurt anybody, but I've helped some.
Yeah, that's great. Just the other day, I was actually looking for a picture of you and I remember taking a picture in front of your the car you had in college.
I've
And
tried to destroy all pictures before 1990. All pictures. I've tried to.
I couldn't find that picture, but I came
Good,
across
good.
some letters like you were talking about, some letters of some uh our family was moving to another church,
Hmm.
and I had been involved in youth group and youth as a youth leader,
Right,
and I there were letters in there from the youth and parents of the youth
right,
of the impact that I had, and one of them wrote to Catherine, and she said, "Here's what I want to say about you, Catherine, uh, to Ryan, my son, to
right,
Abigail. Just,
right,
they were smaller kids, younger kids than the youth.
right, right.
Just seeing them and they're growing up, and then the impact that I had on that you don't really realize the impact you have on kids until you hear that. And I was wondering if did you ever did you ever send letters or do the same thing, give feedback to either your high school teachers or college professors or anything like that?
I if I did, I don't remember too many. I think for me, talking to Coach Britton and Coach Brazel personally after I got in the profession was better than writing a letter. One of my goals was to write a book about Leo Britton. I haven't gotten to it yet. I think if I ever retire and don't work
Hmm.
anymore, that's going to be a project because I don't think you can overestimate the impact one man had on so many people on so many levels.
Yeah,
Because I think because of the success that happened at Vernon, it impacted other areas in the community. It made people proud to be from Vernon. It made people want to move to Vernon, be a part of his program. And
yeah,
if I ever have a project, it would be that. And currently, I'm trying to get a video done for my mom who passed away 3 years ago. Which, again, Ray, I'm going to say what I've said. I feel very blessed because that's where you and I reconnected. Was at my mother's funeral, and it meant a lot to me that you and some other guys showed up. It really had an emotional impact on me, and uh, I'm deeply grateful for the people that came to that funeral. And I'm going to try and do a video for her, and I've just got some
hmm,
projects, but I just like everything else, I don't seem to have time since I'm working full time. But I'll get
yeah.
to them one day.
I understand that. All right. So I think you've answered a lot of the questions that I have just kind of on your own.
Okay.
So by leaving Vernon and having the memories that you have about that, what's the what do you think the impact is that by you leaving? Did you ever consider coming back to Vernon to coach and teach?
No, never did. Couldn't wait to leave Vernon. Couldn't wait to go to college. Probably went to college to get out of Vernon, not to go to college. And I go back to Vernon about twice a year, once at Christmas and once in the summer. I love seeing my brother and his wife and their children and all the things they're doing and all the changes that happen there. Um, there's probably going to come a day I'm going to move closer to Vernon. I don't know that I'll move back to Vernon, but I could see moving back to West Texas or North Texas for sure in my life. But I'm just grateful where I started life out, and even at Lockett, going back to those country days, I learned to work hard, physically
Yeah.
hard, and also learned this is not what I want to do. It was a great lesson. But
Yeah.
you know, I still have memories of my dad running a lot of cattle through the chute, and we branding them, and all the things you do to the cattle, and it's almost like a dream, but it was
Yeah.
real back then.
Yeah. Yeah. And watermelons, right?
Well, that came later, and that's not a chapter I want to talk about. My dad always dabbled in other crops. Having cotton, cattle, and wheat wasn't enough. Let's grow some watermelons during the summer, and
Okay.
uh, I
Don't
don't
let the
really want
cows
to talk
eat
about
them.
water. Not a watermelon. Don't eat watermelon to this day. Won't eat one.
Okay. All right. So the other thing is, you talked about marriage, and I remember you were in my wedding, and I was in
Yeah,
your wedding, and
yeah,
you've had kids.
yeah.
So what has marriage and or fatherhood taught you about life?
Well, I think there's a lot of mimicking of things that happen. I think it makes you a better coach if you're a dad. I think you're a better dad if you're a coach. There's a lot of tribulations, as you know, with children, and my kids are grown now. They've gone, left the house. One reason we sold the house, my daughter just graduated with a master's. She's going to be a speech pathologist.
Wow.
Graduated from the University of Arkansas. Got to
Okay.
go to my first SEC football game. Going up there, didn't win a whole lot, but they were a
Yeah.
lot of fun. My son's 21 now, and he started his own corporation,
Yeah.
LLC, and he's a
Wow.
professional. He creates games for Roblox, and he's had a lot of success. And he's had over almost 200 million kids play his games.
What?
And he's working on another one right now. Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
I just think I think my kids taught me more than I taught them. They kids are great, and you 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 go through life with them. You see their ups and downs, and reminds you of your ups and downs and the things you
Yeah.
went through. So I think it makes us a better person.
Yeah.
But now they're grown, and it's hard to, everything's quiet now, not much going on.
Yeah. Hmm. When you think of your days in Vernon, what are some words or a phrase that would describe your time in Vernon, or at least Vernon High School?
A phrase. That's a great question. Blessed. I feel blessed to be in a small rural community that, although I say small, we had ample resources. We
Yeah.
had, we had everything we needed,
Yeah.
and to be successful, we had great people around us, and financially, I think Vernon was in a much better place. I don't know where they're at today, but back then, I just feel very blessed to be a part of that community and the people I graduated with. And I want to say this: I really got along great with the people below me and the people above me. It wasn't just my senior class. I loved hanging out with Rick Culler, Michael White, and Chan Campsey, and I loved hanging out with Ken Brock and Steve McKay and those guys, and they were a lot of fun. So I feel like there was a community of friends there, not just a class of friends.
Yeah. All right. Is there something about your story for those listening today that you want to either inspire them or teach them something about your story?
I don't have anything like that. I'm no different than anybody else listening. I think probably we should always remember that we're blessed through the glory of Jesus Christ, and that we have strength in Him and believe in Him, and good things are going to happen through Him.
Hmm. Great. Amen. Well, with that humility that I hear and listening in your voice, is there something on on the surface that you want people to know that, or well, that they don't see on the surface, something about you that they would be surprised?
That I'm not in prison, I guess. It's probably a time in my life I was probably going the wrong direction. But again, I go back to I was young and dumb back then. I don't know how else to say it, and making poor decisions. And through the glory of God, people came in my life, whether it be at the college level or friends. Even my fraternity gave me a vehicle to see what was right and wrong, and the friends I made along the way, and the experiences and the lessons taught by teachers and coaches and everyone involved, pastors. I
Mhm.
have two. I have two pastors from Vernon that meant a lot to me. One baptized me, John Clappenball, and Mike became the radio guy. You might remember
Mhm.
at the radio station there. But his dad baptized me in '73, I believe. Um, and I don't know if you remember a guy named Sprayberry at First Baptist.
Yeah. Steve Sprayberry's
Steve,
dad?
Wild Man Steve. His
Yeah.
dad had a good impact on me, and there's others. I'm leaving out people. I hate to leave out people, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I don't give up. Do the best you can, and be a giver, not a taker. I think good things will happen to you in your life.
Great. That sounds like an answer to the question I normally ask folks of, if you had to write Jody a letter to that high school kid, what would you say to him? That sounds like it.
Get your
Is there
head out
anything
of your
else?
ass. Get your head out of your ass and get going. And people along the way helped me get my head out of my ass. So I'm very proud of that. Ray, I do have one thing I tell my students today when they graduate. I tell the girls, and I think this is biblically based, to lift as you rise.
Hmm.
As you rise in life, lift others. Don't just lift yourself. It's try to help others as you rise in life. So I like that one a lot. I think it's biblically based, and I'm not anybody to give anybody advice. I'm just very lucky and very grateful and very blessed.
Wow, that's good. I think I'm not exactly sure, but I want to say First John, and it's not quoting that, but something to the effect of, our faith in Christ makes us, children of God, something to
Right.
that effect, that we're not so we don't love the world, but we love the brethren,
That's right.
right? So
That's
I think
right.
that's bringing them up.
You got to love each other, and I think all these things we're talking about are great lessons. I think the challenge is when you have real adversity in your life, you have to apply those lessons, not just say
Yeah,
those lessons. And
right.
that's the real where the rubber hits the road, as they say. And
Yeah.
I've had adversity, but I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like the luckiest guy on earth right now talking to you.
That's great. Yeah, I do. I do too, Jody. It's been a long time. And there's a picture behind you. I don't know if that's a team. I can't tell that's up on the top shelf. But I know you've talked about some meeting some people, coaching certain
Hmm.
people, playing against
Hmm.
people who went to the major leagues. So
Yeah.
do you have any stories
Well,
about?
I'm no different. I've coached quite a few athletes that went on to play, over 100 that played Division One. Got to coach against Shaquille O'Neal in the late '80s. I wasn't the head coach, but I was on the staff, and
Yeah.
I say we coached against him. I think that's stretching a little bit. We sit on the sideline while he dunked on us for 4 quarters. So you say that like you're proud of it, but actually that night it was a pretty hard night. But I got to see a young Shaquille O'Neal. Coaches, great football players. I've had my last four quarterbacks played for OU, A&M,
Wow.
TCU, SC, and the University of Texas, Tyrone Swoops. So
Okay.
I've got one couple in the pros, although I'm not sure they're going to make it. I think they may have gotten cut. But, I had one start for the University of Wisconsin at the Colony. He was a great running back. I don't know. I've had a couple all-state quarterbacks in my career, and all those guys did was make me a better coach. They made me a better coach. I'm not a good coach unless I have good players. And again, here's the word. I've been blessed to
Yeah.
be around some really talented young men. I did get to meet three presidents after
Yeah.
we left. Yeah, yeah, by accident, pure accident again. Go in Denton. I go to Barnes and Noble, and there's Jimmy Carter signing books, and so I get his autograph. I didn't tell him that my dad thought he was the worst president in the history of the United States. I,
That's probably good. That's a good thing, Jody.
Ray, they say there's power in the power of omission. Well,
Yes,
I,
sir.
I didn't get any conversations with President Carter, but met both Bushes, one at the state basketball tournament, the young Bush, George W. My wife and I got a basketball program with his signature in it, and we can't find it. We don't know what we did
Oh,
with it, so
hmm.
we think it's in a box in the attic. But and then I met George H. Bush at Lubbock in the '84 election. He came out there, and we got in line. Me and some goobers that we really weren't political. We just wanted to go kind of see what was happening. And what I remember about that day is one of my friends popped off to the Secret Service and almost got, I thought was going to get arrested. And I
Yeah.
told him he was an idiot. And, but we got to shake his hand, and that was kind of cool. And they, obviously went on to become presidents. Met Dr. J in New York, my childhood hero. You might remember that, Ray. I
Dr.
was a
J.
Dr. J fan.
Yeah.
I'm going down the street in New York City with my wife. We're getting in a taxi. I look over to my right, and there's Dr. J eating lunch with his son and two guys from NBC.
Okay.
And I tell the taxi guy, "You're going to have to sit there. I'm going to go inside and get his autograph." Of course, he's screaming that he's got to go because we're supposed to be at the airport. We're late for the airplane, and my wife is not happy. And
So
I
did
go
you wait,
inside,
wait, wait,
and
wait. Did you leave Stephanie in the cab while you went in there?
I left her outside the cab loading the suitcases and ran to the restaurant
Okay.
like it was the last food on earth. I ran. Well, around fixing to leave and go back to Dallas. I was living in at that time. I was living in McKinney or Prosper. I was living in Prosper outside of
Yeah.
Frisco, and here's my only chance to meet my childhood hero. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember. I was a big ABA
Yeah.
guy, and
Yeah.
probably the only kid in rural West Texas or North Texas that has subscription to the Dallas Morning News and kept up with the ABA basketball. I mean, nobody back then even cared, and I'm the only one that
Right.
cared.
The
Well,
red,
here he
white,
is
blue
sitting,
ball.
yeah, red, white, and blue ball, and Ray, here he is eating right. Now there was a fence. That was the problem. I had to go around to the front and go through. And at first, he told me no. He told me no. I'm sorry, I don't do that while I'm eating. And
Yeah.
I was going to walk out, and something got in me. The good Lord pushed me back, and I went back and begged him. And I said, Dr. J, I've been a big hero. And I went back and told him who he's played for, the Virginia Squires, then the New York Nets. I basically recounted his career to him.
Yeah.
And at that point, he couldn't believe it. And I told him he played for the University of Massachusetts in the late 60s, early 70s. And he took my paper and signed it. And I've got it framed right now.
Wow.
In fact, if you'll let me, here's a picture of that.
Wow. Man. Okay. Dr. J. We
Yeah,
deserve it.
that was a
Okay.
cool thing for a West Texas kid from West
Yeah.
Texas. And I'll end it on this one, Ray. I was at Las Vegas in the early '90s, '94, I think. Stephanie and I were going out there, and it was 117 degrees. And I get on the elevator. I think she had a headache or something. I was going down to get something, and none other than Mickey Mantle stepped on the elevator with me. And
Wow.
he had two bodyguards that had their hands full of baseballs. They were signing autographs for people at I don't know, one of the companies called Upper Deck or Lower Deck or On
Okay.
Deck or whatever. And they had these, those dozen baseballs, in these boxes. And I just turned around and said, Mickey, I'm a big fan. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I said, I'm a baseball coach. I was the head baseball coach at Mark. Remember that I started the
Yeah.
five freshmen. I told you we went 3 rounds deep
Yeah.
and had a great year, won the district, blah, blah, blah. And he had one of the guys pull out a fresh baseball, that box, and he personalized the ball to me. That means a lot to me. It says, to Coach Stringer, congratulations on a great year, something like that.
Wow.
And he got off the elevator about 5 minutes later, and I was dumbfounded. And I got my wife her aspirin or whatever she wanted, Tylenol, and went back up in the room and showed her a baseball. And she thought I bought it, that I was making the whole story up. And I said, no, I just talked to Mickey Mantle. And she's like, no, you didn't. I caught a couple foul balls at Texas Ranger games. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anyway, that's that's it. I don't know if I've done other things, but I can't think of any of them.
Those are pretty good, Jody. I wonder if there's a lot of stories we could talk about, but people don't want to probably just hear about our
No, I'm sure
our our,
people tuned
our
us out for you.
escapades.
I'm sure people tuned us out about 48 minutes ago. I'm sure you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I'd
So are
love to
there?
interview you because you and I had a lot of unique experiences. We laughed a lot. What I remember about you, Ray, is we laughed a lot. I
Yeah, yeah.
like being around you because you seem to get the sarcasm or whatever was being said, and you had a certain giggle. And then you also would let me know it's not cool, man. That's not cool. And so I knew I went too far if Ray told me it wasn't cool. So I cherish our friendship and all the people we grew up with. We were very lucky to have all those people.
Yeah, it's good. Before we part ways, is there anything else that's pressing on your heart, or anything you want to say, or ask, that I've not asked? Think you want to share?
No, I can't think of anything. Just good luck to everyone out there and keep believing and doing your best you can, and good things are going to happen for you.
Yeah, I believe so. Well, Joey, I've enjoyed this time together. You talked about your mom passing and us rekindling our
Yeah.
friendship. Your parents were a big part of my life in Vernon. They were like a second mom and dad to me. And I can remember your dad at Parents' Day at WT and bringing a roll of carpet, and our dad's putting it on our in our floor
I don't
together.
remember that, Ray.
Remember
I
that?
do
I
not
remember
remember
them
that.
putting that. We had, because we just had tile floor in that dorm
Uh-huh.
room, and but and your mom, your mom got onto me almost as much as she got onto you, seems like, and she
And
was telling me that.
my mom felt like you were just one of the other kids. She loved you like a son.
Yeah.
She probably respected you and liked you a lot more than her middle son. Actually, if the truth was said.
I don't know about that, but
I feel like Ray. I don't remember where I met you, but I guess when you came into town, your ninth grade year, I think was somewhere in
we
there we
probably
met.
met. Yeah.
I
Probably
found
got
your
closer our
story
sophomore year.
fascinating. I'd like to interview you one day because I think you have a great story to tell, Ray, from LA and your life, and you're an inspiration yourself. And what you're doing with these podcasts are inspirational. And when I was up in Vernon, I mentioned it to my brother and them, and they seemed to know about it. So you're turning into a
Hmm.
Martin Scorsese all by yourself. And
Yeah.
I think you're doing something, Ray. That there's a niche for what you're doing, and I am proud for you and happy for you and your success.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, somebody mentioned that about. I think I got a text from Jeff, your brother. I didn't know the number, so I said, "Who is this?" It's Jeff Stringer, and he said, "Hey, you're doing a great job. And, give me a thumbs up, kind of thing." And someone else mentioned that they had heard other people listening to this that aren't in our class,
Mhm.
and I said, "What am I,
Mhm.
like, the Joe Rogan of Vernon?" He said, "Oh, you're better than that."
No, you're
I
better than Joe Rogan. I guarantee that.
don't know about that, but it's
I
been
tell you
it's
what,
been fun doing this.
before I leave, I want to mention my two brothers. Without them, I couldn't have done anything. I have great brothers, Jeff in Louisiana. Met a beautiful wife up there, and they've been up there for 30 something years. And my older brother has always been the anchor for our family, especially since mom and dad have gone down in their health. So I want to mention them as being people that have really helped me in my life.
Yeah, I can that's a great testament to just your family. We spent a lot of holidays
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
family, been to all the weddings, had good times with just celebrating with your family. We were close, and
I
it's your
don't think we
family.
ever did anything, Ray, without you. I mean, I think if Thanksgiving, it was just normal for you to sit down with us or anything, and you were part of our life. And I know my mom loved you. She always asked me about you, and it was hard to tell her. Well, I don't know. I haven't talked to Ray in a while. Well, why
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, Mom. I'm not sure. But she loved you and she loved your family. And I thank you for this opportunity. I think you're doing a great thing with these things, right?
Thanks. Well, I really appreciate it, Jody. I appreciate your friendship, and I love the way that your career
Yeah,
has unfolded, and that the blessings of the Vernon culture, how that's impacted
yeah,
you in your life
no
and your
doubt.
coaching and your teaching, and
Yeah.
the humility that I see in you, and the sharing, and just the goodness that you've done in reaching people, that you're
Mhm.
touching people. I think Matthew Stafford is the one who used this term, exponentially, and so I see that in you, in your life, and in your family, and uh, I just want to say I'm proud of where you've come this far. And so, what's the plan for you moving forward?
I don't know. I'm probably going to retire here pretty soon. I, you know, I I love teaching, but I'm ready to start traveling and maybe doing some other things. I think eventually I'm going to get back to North Texas or West Texas or closer anyway.
Okay.
We moved down here for my wife. This is where her mom and dad are from, and um, we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
not sure. I think I want to travel a little bit at some point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sounds good. All right. Well, we'll be in touch. Okay,
Okay.
folks, that's it for Jody Stringer. Thanks for listening to this episode
Go
of
Vernon. Go
In the
Vernon.
Flash. The years go by. For those who I've been trying to reach out to folks. If I go by Facebook, I try to send a message. Some folks it goes through, some folks it don't. But if you want to reach out to me, feel free to. I'll just throw out my email out there. It's raygerald1@gmail.com. Now just know that Gerald is spelled in a unique way. So just raygerald1@gmail.com. And thanks for listening, y'all. We'll see y'all down the road. God
Thank
bless.
you,
Take
Ray.
care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of In a Flash, the Years Go By podcast. If today's conversation reminded you of home, of Lion Pride, or of a chapter in your own life's journey, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe, share the episode with another Lion, and keep spreading that Vernon Lion spirit wherever you are. And if you'd like to be a guest or nominate someone with a story worth telling, reach out. We all would love to hear from you. And until next time, remember, Lions, Lions, we back you, says the class of '82.
As the years go by.